Welcome everyone, Dr. Tom DePaoli here, going over a video on how to execute a Kaizen well. I think you'll find this very informative and help you in all process improvement efforts. Please subscribe to my channel, I'd greatly appreciate it. And how to obtain this video information will be given later on in the presentation. Here's our mission, Apollo Solutions. Pay forward the hard knocks lessons learned in life, career, and business. My books are available on Amazon. Many are business related. I think you'll find them informative and very true to earth. So a lot to remember in this presentation. This book, Kaizen Creativity, will help you. I urge you to try it on Amazon, especially if you're new to Kaizens. Very, very helpful. This is what we're going to cover today. This is the title. Some of the things we're going to cover: definition of a Kaizen, overview, planning for one, roadmap, structure. We'll show you some tips on how to use the tools, and we'll actually show you slides from actual Kaizens. This is a definition. I won't read it for you word to word. I'll let you read it. It's sort of a constant improving the process. Small changes are powerful. You got to figure out where your project falls on the placement map. And this is a 4-block. Now, Kaizens, you can see down there on the right, engage natural work teams in a disciplined approach to try to improve their work and process. Where do Kaizens come from? First of all, you got to have a champion in a Kaizen team. It is a manufacturing-based way to do things. They're run by green belts or black belts. Team leader or project manager leads the team. The best people to do a Kaizen are people who actually do the process or subject matter experts. Consider the building block of lean initiatives or Lean Six Sigma. The important thing is to, and we'll get into this later, a value stream analysis. It should be a repeatable work process that people want to improve. Modeled after Toyota workshops, also known as a Kaizen event. Here's some very critical success factors. I'll give you some time to read, but I'll remark on them. Got to have a strong champion. Got to have a good green belt and black belt running it. They need to understand the process. Need to give people time and space to execute one, and they have to understand the process. Much easier if the process is within a department. It does not cross other department lines. Here's the big picture. It looks simple, but far from it. Define the as-is, analyze the delays, then streamline the process, then create the to-be or new process. Very action-orientated. You want to have a lean process in place at the close of the event. Use creativity before capital dollars, learning by doing. And like I said in the diagram before this, change the as-is to to-be. Now, the length can vary depending on how much homework you want to do. I've done it in a day or less. It depends on your organization, how well organized you are. I emphasize preparation and understanding what's going on and that sort of thing when you do a Kaizen. Trying to train people and to do process improvement in the same meeting is extremely difficult. Follow the Kaizen roadmap. Make sure you have a crystal clear charter signed by the champion. Got to have quantifiable and measurable goals and metrics. You can easily do many of the tools ahead of time and get consensus. Make sure you always have a follow-up of a Kaizen. Planning obviously is critical. Again, you got to have a tight focus and be organized in the Kaizen. Consider a recorder, timekeeper, facilitator, leader, and agenda follow-up. You got to have the resources to do it. Otherwise, the meeting time will be a waste. Improve process functioning by the end of the week should be a goal. Here's the actual 11-step Kaizen roadmap. Charter, voice of the customer, SIPOC, walk the process, create the as-is or current state, do a spaghetti map or circle diagram if you have to, analyze delays and brainstorm, then create the to-be ideal state. Need to get consensus, predict the cycle time and metrics, and create an implementation plan. Make sure you have a final report. Initial Kaizen planning, here's what you should do. Champion needs to identify the Kaizen, time frames, team members, and agree on the tools. The green belt starts by filling out the charter, providing input to the team, develop a rough SIPOC, set initial meeting with the team, agree on tools, and the 11-step process. Here's just some suggested ground rules, and these apply to many other meetings. Create a blameless environment is important. One person, one vote. No such thing as a dumb question. Understand the process and practice consensus. Some of the things you can do in the first day. Kick off with the champion, introductions, introduce some of the tools, review the charter, walk the process if you can. Review some of the actual tools. You can do that in walking the process. Get the as-is going, look for root causes and delays, wrap up and summarize. You can actually do a Kaizen in a day, but you really have to be organized well in advance and plan in advance. Day 2, as-is process, review it, brainstorm fixes, create the to-be process, predict cycle time for the to-be, review progress with the champion. Follow-up, implement and debug. Brief stakeholders on the new process. Establish a 7-day follow-up plan. Review progress with the champion. Again, these times can vary depending on how much progress you make. So don't get hung up that it has to be 1 day, 2 day, or 3 day. Kaizen tool tips that seem to work for me. Hopefully it'll work for you. Use as many metrics as possible in your charter. Identify the defect and what's broke. Have the champion and team sign the charter. Make sure the scope of the process to be improved is well defined. Establish predicted goals, cycle time, or success criteria. Make sure you get buy-in from all the people on the team. Train the team tips. Determine appropriate tools and timing. Okay? Get them white belt training before the actual meeting. Make sure they understand brainstorming, voice of the customer, spaghetti and circle diagramming, process mapping, data collection, and interviewing and cycle time. Emphasize the need for discipline to follow the prescribed methods and not to skip them. SIPOC, a tool used to visualize and bound the value stream. Suppliers, inputs, process, value stream, outputs, customers. What output is the customer buying? Or the outputs the customer does not buy? Are there some they don't even care about? What are critical to quality items? What is the customer really valuing and willing to pay for? Not what the internal customers value, but external who pay for it. Here's just a map to help you. What are inputs? You can see people, material, equipment, policies, procedures, methods, environments. Process is just a very short description of what goes on. What's the outputs of the process? What service, what products, what's completed? One way to conduct a SIPOC that I use, 5 flip charts. Start with any letter and brainstorm for all the possible things under the letter. Get down to the vital few. Don't overcomplicate the SIPOC. Find out what is critical to the customer, not to you. Keep it simple, not complicated. Here's an example. You can get many of them by just Googling them online. Walk the process tip. Use props, especially with a service transaction, especially if it's just forms. Don't shortcut. Be like a court reporter, recording everything. Don't assume. Execute the process. Think about doing a spaghetti map or circlegram map, or you're walking the process. Tools. You can take care of 2 tools with 1 stone. Here's a tip that I've used. Pretend to be a product or data as it moves through the beginning to the end. Be the thing. Talk to all employees involved. Record observations. Operating in pairs seems to work better. One not familiar with the process possibly could help. Document all methods used and deviations. Circle diagram of what's going on or the touch points. As is process tip. Just visually and accurate depict the process map, what the heck's going on. Don't get hung up on correct symbols, icons, etc. Clearly show and list the delays. Make sure it reflects the actual way the work is done. Show as-is cycle time chart. Think about evaluating the step, value stream analysis. What's value adding, what's non-value adding, what's required, like the yellow dot. You can make up your own symbols as long as you're consistent. Here's a diagram of an as-is process map. This is how it should look, but not necessarily the way yours will look. Then analyze the delays. How come? What's the cause? Why does it happen? It's a good initial step. 2B state tips. Use the as-is process map to create the 2B process. Cross out what's needed. Cross out what you've changed. List the delays. Brainstorm how to get rid of them. Don't worry about neatness or form. A lot of people use stickies to do it. Cut as many steps as possible. Slash and burn. Craft a rough 2B cycle chart and predict its metrics. Get consensus from the team. Here's a 2B process map. Again, something like this should be your output or outcome. Here's a cycle time. Try to work towards something like this. Here's some implementation plan tips once you decide on what the new 2B process is going to be. Do as many fixes as fast as possible. Don't ask permission, act. Assign people to tasks and deadlines. Get the lean office or your leadership involved. Here is a Kaizen implementation plan. I do recommend using the storyboard. Make sure you collect the new metrics. Make sure you also address issues that were unresolved, or I call parking lot issues. Make sure you audit the 2B process and present your performance results. Celebrate your achievements. You had fun, it's tough work. Make sure you celebrate them. Here's some facts about me. I've had a lot of experience in process improvement. It's not an easy thing to do. Here's a lot of my social media places for you to look at. Here's my 9 great business books. I call them Getting the Real World MBA. Again, I'd like you to consider them. Try this book. I mean, a lot of this stuff will become much clearer if you buy my Kaizen Creativity book, and you'll understand it much better. Very helpful. Once again, subscribe to my channel. Appreciate it. Any questions? Please email me at the 2 email addresses, thomasdpaoli@yahoo.com or drtomd@gmail.com. There's my website too that will be very helpful. Hope you enjoyed my advice. Thank you very much for your time and patience. I know your time is valuable. And again, give my books a try. I think you'll learn a lot from them. I had a lot of fun writing them, and I think you'll have fun reading them. Thanks very much.